This is an unedited recording of the full meeting. Public comments are held at the end of the meeting. Thank you for watching. Please hit the like button and leave a comment. It really helps the algorithm. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to get all the upcoming videos from our channel. Thank you and enjoy the video.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Please take your seats. So there was no executive session held prior to tonight's meeting. It was just a budget meeting. Roll call, please. Ister. Savage. Here. Brocious. Here. Barnhart. Here. Martina.
Here.
There are two additions to the agenda. One is the Geisinger contract for parking out back and code personnel. Do I have a second to add those to the agenda?
Yeah.
Martina.
That's yes.
The guy next to me.
Ister. Savage.
It's like almost $10,000
Yes.
a year of taxes.
Yes. All right. Is there any public comment on agenda items at this time? Public comment on agenda items at this time?
You know what I mean?
All right, moving on. Old business. There is no old business, but there is new business. The one is the Geisinger contract. Jeff, could you talk about that real quick because you were in email conversation?
Geisinger contract, the parking out back closest to the Geisinger building, they have 16 parking spots here in the parking lot, and they have 3 roaming spots that they use over in the Kohl's parking lot. Starting this December 1st, they're going to pay the city $3,800 for those 19 spots, and it's going to go up progressively 3% for the next 10 years.
Questions, anyone?
Okay, see it.
All right, so I make the motion to accept that contract. Do I have a second? Barnhart.
Yes.
Ister. Savage.
Yes.
Brocious. Yes. Barnhart. No, Martina, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Sorry, guys. You're welcome. Next, code personnel, Councilman Barnhart.
Yes, there's 2 code personnel that are working their tails off. And it's in my budget to do it, and I'd like to, I make a motion to give Joyce Snyder a $20 raise and also.
$20. To raise her to $20.
You said $20 raise.
Oh, no.
We're generous here in the city.
She'll take it.
I'll take it.
To $20, and also Jennifer Martinez to $20.
And just to clarify, Councilman Mahart, because we spoke earlier, just so that everyone knows, because they have taken on different job responsibility. I know Jennifer is doing, we used to have 2 code clerks, now we have 1 because she's taking up that extra load, and the same with Joyce as taking up the extra load of the workforce, correct?
Correct.
All right, so I will second the motion.
Question, I thought we just discussed this in the budget meeting, how we're going to take and do something for everybody.
That was for 2025.
But that was the point, the raise, why were we doing it now, at the end of the fiscal year? When's this going to go into effect?
If it passes.
If it passes.
You're going to give a raise at the end of the fiscal year in the budget meetings. Go ahead, do what you want.
Martina.
I'm struggling on this one. Not that I don't think they deserve it, but we are. I don't know that this is the time to do it, so no.
Ister.
No.
Savage. No. Brocious.
Yes.
Barnhart.
Yes.
All right, moving on, Controller Alex, audit.
We received the audit. I wasn't sure if we were gonna vote on it tonight or discuss it, or if everybody had a chance to look at it.
Yeah, I mean, unless you want to give us a little bit of a summary or the public here, that's up to you. Like I said, we can just discuss it.
Has council had a chance to look at it?
I mean, I briefly just, went through it.
Did you get to see it? Are you okay with it?
Yes.
There's a management letter that needs to be signed, if you're going to accept the audit, tonight.
Kate, you want to add anything to the audit?
I don't,
We're
no,
fine.
it's,
I mean, the audit's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
We've met all the goals that, everything's been, it's very clear,
Okay.
but we're good.
Okay. So now you want to make the motion?
I will, to just accept the audit?
Yeah, to accept the audit.
So I'll make a motion.
Accept the audit and also to, have someone sign the management letter and send back to, for you acceptance of the
Thank you, Controller Alex. I will make the motion that we accept the audit and then sign the management letter to send back.
Second.
Ister. Savage.
Yes.
Brochus.
Yes.
Barnhart.
Yes.
Martina.
Yes.
Councilman Barnhart, go ahead, sir.
Make the motion to accept the net tech fees schedule.
I second.
Martina.
Yes.
Ister. Savage.
Yes.
Brochus.
Yes.
Barnhart.
Yes.
Keep going, Councilman Barnhart.
I'd like to table my amendment to ordinance 1312 until next meeting.
Second, the motion to table.
Martina.
Yes.
Ister.
Yes.
Savage.
Yes.
Brochus.
Yes.
Barnhart.
Yes.
Moving on here, Penn Teledata Service Contract. Jeff, I know there was one thing you had to.
There's three upgrades. By dealing with PTD, we upgraded the rink, or we want to upgrade the rink, DPW, and City Hall. It would double our capabilities today, and it would actually take our bill down to $42 a month by upgrading. It's a 3-year contract, but Councilwoman Martina, she would like to amend, do you want to say it? What we said?
That's fine.
She wants to amend the contract, so we wouldn't vote on, or they wouldn't, they would vote on it tonight with amended, that she wants to upgrade hers from what we have in the contract to 225, right?
Yeah.
225 out, which, the fee's about $55, which we paid through her budget.
Okay. So I'll make the motion to accept the Penn Teledata contract with the amendment of, Lisa, what exactly do you need? For what DPW needs for their upgrade?
Yes, thank you.
Second. I mean, do I have a second?
Second, Jim.
Savage.
Yes.
Brochus.
Yes.
Barnhart.
Yes.
Martina.
Yes.
Ister.
All right, moving on here, I'm just gonna put these in two. The reappointment letter for the sweep committee of Donald Rouse and the appointment request of the sweep committee of Pablo Santos. They have both put letters of interest in for the sweep committee. Do I have a second to add those two people to the committee?
Second. Martina.
Yes.
Barnhart.
Yes.
Savage. Yes. Ister. Brochus.
Yes. Moving on, Councilwoman Martina.
Thank you. Okay, so, some new information came to light, after we voted at our last meeting, and, we voted to go for, 100,000 for the LSA grant. After, some new information that may be, too low, and we were advised to actually apply for, more, just because we should apply for the project. So we got a new estimate for the project itself, and that total was $711,321. So we were looking for an amendment to the vote that was taken last meeting. I don't believe actually, I think this is on my copy. Here, pass it down. from $100,000 to the number that is on there currently.
So the monies that we all have set aside, if we get, so we're applying for how much?
711,000.
Yeah, and change on whatever's on that paper, 711,000.
Okay, so let's just say we get half, or the 100 that you suggest that we may get, or 200, whatever. What portion of the project's going to get done first?
All of it.
But if we only get half the money,
That's what we're saving for the fuel.
So he's saying if
We use our liquid fuels as a contingency if we don't get the grants.
so how, okay, no, so I'm just saying, we only get 100,000, so we have 500,000, I'm just making up a number here, for that, that's what I'm
If I
asking.
need to, I can. I would save it for 6 years, Josh.
No, I'm just asking.
Bill,
So with that being said, I'm just gonna play devil's advocate. So if you have the money set aside, which you just said, you would have it. So why
I would
couldn't
have
we
to
have?
make a lot of sacrifices, but I would make it happen, yeah.
Yeah, so why couldn't we have used that money to apply for the City Hall remodel, with you that being said, like you just said right there,
Because I
that,
can't build, because if I build that job, you have to understand, Josh, $276,000 goes
No, I
nowhere
understand.
with construction.
I get it.
Okay, you're looking at Memorial Drive here.
No, I understand.
And all I'm doing is a mill and pave, and I'm doing, a little bit of drainage work and that type of thing, putting in under drain and putting in rock line ditch, keep the water out from underneath the road. And I'm $711,000. I can't do this without grants.
No, I get it, I get it, I completely understand, but if you just said we're applying for $700,000, if we only get 300, you're gonna make it work somehow with some financial 400. If you only get 100, you're gonna make it work somehow with the other six. I'm just wondering, because that wasn't set last meeting, that's what I'm saying.
Here's the thing, Josh, I'm gonna do everything I can to make it happen. Now, when you're working in construction like this, and you're working projects, what you do is you bid things into all alternates, okay? And you can only bid into what you have. So at that point, let's say when the junction comes about, and I only get $100,000 out of this, and I can only afford $500,000.
Yeah.
Then I gotta pull back and I gotta say, okay, what can I give up? Can I give up that rock line ditch? Can I give up whatever? Okay, there's always give and take when this, you never get it perfect.
No, I get
There's
it.
always give and take. So I can't sit here and commit to you 100% this, 100% that. If you want that, you're in the wrong business. That ain't gonna happen.
Well, I'm just saying, because last meeting, that wasn't brought up, I need this money to do the project, now you just said, well, if we don't get all the money we need, I'll still find a way to get it done. I mean, it just looks like the only thing we applied for, that we pushed for, I'm not saying it doesn't need done, only grants that we applied for and pushed for are street grants, when there's other things that need to be done. That's just my own opinion, not saying it's the right one or wrong one, but you just said you could find the money somehow to make it work. But now, it doesn't seem like the safety of our employees here are that priority, but that's just my own opinion. All right, so whoever wants to make the motion, make the motion.
I'm gonna make the motion to amend the amount we apply for the LSA grant.
Second. Savage.
yes.
Brochus.
No.
Barnhart.
No,
Martina.
Yes.
Ister. Yes.
All right, Councilwoman Martina, SRI statewide grant.
Sorry. Yes, they are. So SRI sent an email, which I did forward to all of you, that they would like to apply for the statewide LSA grant as a sub-grantee through the city for $25,000 to do a study to look at the Albright Center as far as windows and doing some work there. They have an individual through CEDACOG that is willing to volunteer and actually do the grant writing themselves. I did advise them that that person would have to be an allowable, I don't want to say agent, but allowable individual to write the grant on their behalf and submit it for the city. Does that make sense? I don't know what everybody's feelings on that is, but in theory, that individual can sign into their account, because they do have an account, sign in, use our information. They would be the designated person for that grant, because my name goes under the mayor's as a designated person for the grant, that their name would go under there. They would use our information, EIN number, FEIN number, and then submit it on our behalf for SRI to be the sub-grantee. Don't know if we want to do that, or we just do it, or not do it at all, that's really up to you guys. I know it's a little confusing.
I wanna see if I can come up with an abridged version. So CEDACOG has somebody that's willing to write the grant for SRI on a volunteer basis,
Correct.
but they would be using city information and accounts to do it.
Correct.
And we'd be signing off on it, we being you and the mayor. As the signees.
So I wouldn't be the signee at that point.
Is CEDACOG
Technically,
willing-
you could designate me as a signee after it's awarded, because there are two different,
So
Okay,
Mayor,
fair enough.
Mayor, I don't know what you're thinking, but I would, maybe this isn't my argument to have because I'm not the signer, but I would think maybe can we get something in writing from CEDACOG just acknowledging that they're doing this on our behalf, even if it is on a volunteer basis, so that we have recognition that they.
Well, shouldn't everything that they're signing, it should come to our approval because we're taking them at their word, they're doing it properly, but our name's on the list that we're signing it. So I think anytime there's a document needing to be signed or an okay, it should have to come for a council vote. And it shouldn't be one of those things, oh man, we need this a council vote today because we're not paying attention to deadlines and stuff. It should be enough time for us all to review them, especially Joel to review to make sure everything's good.
Well, definitely has to come to council.
Yeah.
I only have, I have that problem with it, that I think we should have review ability. But the other issue I have is there anything there that would not be accessible through a right to know that they're gonna need? Because we can't just share that.
Well, it's actually our information.
I know, but if it's information that's not accessible through a right to know, then we can't give it out to the general
I
public.
think all it is.
no, there's nothing that I can think of.
I don't know what they need.
So depending what's in there, what they're.
Depending what they're requesting, we gotta be careful.
No, because there, all the information, to Jim's point, there's information that CEDACOG wouldn't be able to have unless they came to us. Like there's, like, technically, I guess they could get a planning, county planning letter themselves, but there's certain, like a resolution would have to come from us. There's, but all that.
But there's no proprietary
No,
information.
there's nothing, no, there's no proprietary.
There's nothing that names,
I mean,
incomes, anything, addresses.
no, there's no, only address that is on there would be City Hall in theory.
Then the biggest thing is we want to review power so that we can look at it before it gets signed by yourself and Josh.
The mayor's.
Yeah, as long as everything can come to be reviewed by, council in general, we have to vote okay, if Joel has time to, legally review it. I'm
So
okay.
when we talk about legally review, are we talking about the application itself, or are we talking about subsequent documents?
I'd say everything because it's our name that's on the document.
Okay, because it is electronic, and I don't think you can, because technically you could review it on your computer, like, together, but I don't think there's a way to print out the application while you're in process before signing it. You can print it after you're signing. And if the person that is filling it out under their, like, each person has a login, I have a login. If that individual is logging in, they are the person that has to sign it. Does that make sense? Like, I can't, like, I wouldn't give her my login to sign in as me.
How does Josh sign?
This is the application, this is to actually apply for it.
Oh.
So it's different when, if you are awarded, you have, signatories for, individuals that are approved to sign documents as far as invoices or what have you.
Can they send us a draft?
Well, either way, if it's on their computer, they're gonna have to come either to Derek or Joel to go scroll through it to make sure everything's good. I mean, we're helping them out so they can come to whoever's to review it. It's just the nature, that's what's gonna have to happen.
I mean, regardless, I'm gonna have to help them out with something. I mean, so,
Well, and I can go to
The other
that.
side.
That's right.
That's the application, everything has to go through the city somewhere.
correct, yeah.
Monitor everything.
Yeah.
Okay, this goes back to another thing, if how much Joel's reviewing, I know Joel's on retainer, but still at the same time, that's costing us money that SRI is using, we'll guess call it, but, so how are we gonna do that?
The only difference is, I should say, that they're applying for it. I'm not saying that individual would sign everything afterwards. The only difference is they would be the person that is actually filling out the application. Since we would be the grantee, everything else that we are doing for every other grant would be the same.
So it's like, you know, what we did with fresh roasted coffee?
Yes, except I filled it out for them. It would be like if Fresh Roasted Coffee had their own grant individual and they wanted to do it. But it has to be a government entity that applies for this.
Since they're only filing for, I'm vice president of SRI, so I'm sitting here listening to this conversation. And I was just wondering, since we're only looking to get, like, the windows and stuff fixed, and we need different things done there, why can't the person from CEDACOG, who I know and is very trusting to do that, fill it out, and then you look it over, figure out what you need to do, and you sign it?
That's fine.
That's all we were saying,
I mean-
Cory. I mean, that's all I was
Right.
suggesting too. I agree.
That's just cutting all this.
The only thing is, when she fills it out, in order to fill it out, you have to go into your specific login.
Right, and I understand that, and I get that, so I don't understand why they can't fill it out, because they are a grant writer, and that's what they do. And fill it out, send it to you, you look it over, if you need to change anything, talk to them, change it, and then you sign it, and then you're getting rid of that CEDACOG person.
So you mean they actually do everything and then I input it under my account?
Right, and you can check it over, because you're gonna look at it anyways.
I mean, they could do that.
I mean, you do write grants, so it wouldn't even have to go to Joel, it would just go to you.
No, there's, I mean, there's, it can be done, yes.
Yeah.
It's just, it's inefficient.
All right, so Joel, is this all right for motion? So I'll make the motion to allow SRI to use the information that we need, and before submitting the grant, has to go to the approval/review of the city.
That's correct.
Do I have a second?
Second. Martina.
Yes.
Barnhart.
Yes.
Ister. Savage. Yes. Brochus.
Yes. Councilman Savage, vouchers invoices.
I would like to make a motion for the approval of abstracts and vouchers for the general fund in the amount of $107,281.91. Private grants in the amount of $331,638.18, and payroll in the amount of $53,435.25 to be paid.
Second.
Barnhart.
Yes.
Martina.
Yes.
Ister. Savage.
Yes.
Brochus.
Yes. Moving on, discussion items, rink parking lot. Guys, I remember, Steve, you said you're meeting with Jim and Carl to get a plan together to get those lines paid. You said it couldn't happen this year due to the manpower issues, so what's the plan to get it done for next year in the spring?
So we're gonna get together sometime this winter, take a look at the lot, analyze first, if it needs crack seal, needs the lot.
I know, Jim wanted to get it crack sealed like 2 years ago.
Okay, well, we're gonna look at it over the winter, we'll take a look at it, me and Jim and Carl, we'll do an analysis on it, and then we're gonna have to look and see where we're getting the funds for. Like I said, I can't use my paint's liquid fuels money, that's in the parking lot, that's on the streets, I can't use my paint, so we're gonna have to buy some paint. You know, we'll work it out, we'll get it figured out.
Okay, I just don't want it to be one of these like 6 months things like it was for the lights down at the boat launch, so.
Might be a year, but we'll get her done.
You know, it might be a year, and then someone gets in an accident or gets injured up there, and it's gonna cost a lot more than just the paint, but it's okay though. Because if you go up there right now, Jim, there's no indication of parking lines or parking anything, traffic control or anything. Because people have made comments how they don't really know how they're supposed to park the traffic flow in and out of the parking lot, just don't want someone to get in an accident or get injured, but. So all right, well, I'll just keep it on the agenda so it stays in the public, refreshing to make sure it keeps updated. All right, so Steve, back to liquid fuels here. Can you give us like a little breakdown of how much money we have in the account and where all the money's going, so?
Well, in 6 years, we've saved up $850,000 now. Okay, we've been saving and saving and saving. Projections for where that is going. Right now, we have $110,000 going out for a new T-tag. We have $460,000 getting put into Packer Street next year, $225,000 going into paving in the back streets next year, $400,000 allocated for 2026 for Memorial Drive. Leaves us a deficit of $75,000, but keep in mind I'll have an allotment coming in 2026. Okay, now we do have grants that could augment this and push that money out further, but we've got to keep a buffer in there to keep this moving forward.
Alrighty, that works. And you said with your paving, you said you were gonna get with UGI and SMA to do a combined paving plan, right?
No, no, that's out, you can't do that.
Oh, that's not gonna happen.
Because what happens is we have, everything I bid out, I have to pay rate, okay?
Yeah.
UGI doesn't have to pay rate, so it'd be silly for them. We tried to make it happen for the fall, and that's why we pushed this back until the spring. It didn't make any sense, I'm gonna get a better number when I bid this out in February, I'll get a hell of a better number, and then we'll go, we'll pay in the spring.
Alrighty, that works. Alright, moving on, City Hall remodel, so that came up last meeting here. So I guess we have to kind of figure out what we choose we want to do with that. Obviously, we do have about $150,000 set aside on a $450,000 project. So I didn't know how we want to open that up for discussion, how we want to move forward with that.
I think the incidents that happened out at the code office in the city hall, I think it might be in our best interest because of the employees, or any residents or citizens coming in, that we at least put cameras up in the meantime.
So between this meeting and last meeting, there were, John, what, three incidents that took place in the code office?
Well, in city hall and the
Yeah.
code office, yeah.
So the one that I'll just speak about, that was, I witnessed this, Jeff and I did that. We'll say some individual, I don't know what their name was, but they came into City Hall and decided to wander through the hallways and end up in the bathroom and took a shower in the bathroom. So these are the types of people that may sometimes wander into city halls, and we all know what our office spaces are like, how they're very open to the public, there's no barriers, there's no cameras. Every office you can walk right in, hear all the information, so like I said, this is my own opinion, something should be done before something happens. We say it's too late at that point.
In the meantime, I talked to Councilman Eister, and they're gonna take some glass from the old police station and put that in the code office and try to make it as secure as I can for right now, but I think cameras would be beneficial.
Remember when we started talking about this, we were talking about like our one center needs, and like, did we ever, I mean, what is at that top of the list for us that we can kind of maybe start there and work our way down?
So when they went out and did the bid package, they did the whole thing, they never broke it up.
Okay.
We did have alternates in there, like having like the front door when you walk in, how the concrete's cracked, how the steel support trusses are all rusted out. Like that was an alternate. But once again, that's not gonna go away, it's only gonna get worse.
Right.
Like the back door, with the back door with an awning, same thing, the back door has to be replaced with an awning. That's not gonna get any better, it's only gonna get worse.
Well, everything's gonna continue to get worse, but we kind of have to start with the most important, if that's what we have right now, and
Yeah.
go from there. So what is deemed the most important to start?
Ted, it's safety.
Oh, good.
Ted, the architect is working with James Shaw at Celotex, making a list of the glass we did. I'll start with all the opposites of the glass, and also the electrical glass, and he has a list of importance, and then we have the rest of the alternates, so depending on the community, we can add.
So, and then also just going back on a different side note here, I did talk to Treasurer Troop. So the only loan that we have right now is on the police department, and that's at $700,000, down from $1 million. So the current, we'll say, yearly payments around $50,000. There's like $50,000 to whatever it may be. So we put an additional, Kevin said an additional $70,000 on it a year for an additional 120-ish, or depending where it is. So there is also money there from debt service tax that we could use to cover that difference to get the whole building redone, and then we're good to go. So we're not trying to piece it together here and there and cost more in the long run by doing a bit here, and it's gonna cost us more in the long run rather than doing the project all in one shot. That's also an option that we have.
Well, let's get bid it out, see where we fall, work, and this all start over safety.
Correct.
Cameras, the glass.
But okay, when you do the glass, is it gonna be one of those things, all right, we're just gonna put makeshift glass in, and then no, hold on, and then rip it out later on, or is it gonna be done right the first time, so we're gonna do it again?
Well, for bidding out off the contract of the set of prints, it has to be done by the prints, which we all agree.
That's why I was just asking, I just wanna make sure.
John wanted to put a set of glass in prior to, depending how this falls out. If it was out to bid within the next 60 days, by the first year, then it'll be here working. That's off the set of prints that we agreed on.
Okay.
That has to be bidded out before the end of the year because Dan signed for a contract because we're using ARPA funds. Those funds have to be under contract by the end of this year, so we won't have a choice.
Ted's gonna have it ready by next council meeting for our approval of the bids.
Yeah, I just meant for the time frame, just so everybody knows, regardless.
This is just for the time being, just that's
So at the present time, I think the next council will be ready for 20 hours.
All right. Any other questions, comments, anyone?
But that new bid is gonna go in with alternatives, right? So like, we don't have to keep going back to this, just in case, do you know what I mean? Like,
I understand.
we're starting,
It's going to be the main subject, which I talked to glass, and cameras we're going are in-house, that's not the big packet. And then we also have the electrical as a major component, and the rest of them be all lined up, alternates we can add as we go.
All right, and then moving on here to Kython's Gardens, I don't know, I'm assuming most of you saw the email where about a month ago, Lane's husband passed away, and when I was up there, you know, we were just talking about Kython's Gardens and stuff like that, and her help that she had this year, Jim, I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but he may not be coming back next year. And, you know, Lane can't take care of Kython's Gardens by herself. So I just want to get this conversation going now that we need to start finding someone down there for Kython's Gardens or have Lane do it or whatever, because obviously, you know, it's a very beautiful thing. A lot of weddings, prom pictures, photos take place down there. I don't want it to fall short come spring, like, oh man, we have no one to take care of this.
There's a young lady down there also helps, and there was 2 gentlemen from Gloria, I believe one was from Gloria for sure. They were also helping, and
Are they going to continue to help for next year though?
I don't know that.
Yeah.
I spoke to the young lady within the last month, I was down there one day. I want to stop down and talk to Lynn herself.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do it because her husband just passed.
Yeah.
I jumped in there right out of the gate, started asking questions, I felt.
But that was something that she wanted me to bring up here, because that way planning long term.
Things are closing up down there, once things are buttoned up, let's sit down and talk to them.
Okay. All right. Any other questions, comments, concerns? All right, moving on to announcements. We are accepting letters of interest for the 7 open spots on the Nuisance Abatement Board of Appeals. Letters of interest may contact Jeff and Robin at the mayor's office. Sunbury Trick or Treat will take place on Halloween, the 31st, from 6 to 8 p.m. Santa Parade and Tree Lighting Ceremony will take place on November 29th at 5 p.m. in Cameron Park. Cereal with Santa and the Grinch, How to Stole Christmas seats are available, it will take place at December 7th at 9 a.m. at the Albright Center. Sensory Friendly Santa will take place on December 8th at 10 a.m. at the Santa House. The Ugly Sweater Contest Christmas Party at the ice skating rink will be December 29th at 4 p.m. at the ice rink. New Year's Eve is obviously December 31st, taking place at the ice skating rink and downtown. And we are also accepting letters of interest for all of the boards that will be open for 2025. Steve?
Couple things. First, I need an application for the New Year's Eve festival, so if you and Robin can get that together to me, because that's the last event, application I need to get in the PennDOT.
I got you.
And she said there might be some changes where you're looking maybe to go with things, so.
I got you.
Make sure you guys get me something. Second thing, November 30th is the end of the no parking ordinance, so continue to move your vehicles. That was the 30th.
The sign
Leaf
says
pickup did start. We are not, I don't have the people to go get everything at once right now. We can't dedicate all week to it. We're still mowing grass, we're still picking up brush, we're still doing a million other things. So we're gonna get as we can. I put a burst out on Facebook on that. If you guys are ready to blow your leaves out, just give us a call, leave us know. We'll come by as soon as we can and get it sucked up. Until it's such time as which we can slow down and mow and everything else and get out there and get more and get onto on the no parking ordinance list.
One more announcement. The front office with the mayor is going to be closed tomorrow because Jeff and Robin will be away at training for budget. So, any other announcements?
I have one. This year, SRI is going to do something a little different for late night shoppers. We actually have 8 businesses in the downtown that is going to support and buy Lego kits. And we're having Shipley School District, Lime Mountain School District, some of the kids put some of these Lego kits together. We're going to advertise them and put them in businesses' windows. And you can go by and get your picture taken with the Lego set, put it on Facebook or wherever we have it put, and then you get to put a coupon in. And then after, 3 days before Christmas or something, we're gonna draw the names and we're gonna give away the Lego kits. 4 of them are gonna be unopened and 4 of them are gonna be opened and put up. So that's just something we're doing this year to try and bring business down into the downtown. And like I said, we have sponsors, we're gonna have Lego kits. Some of these things are like $500, they're huge. And they're gonna be really nice. Tom Mertz offered to do one, and Corey offered to do one, and there's a couple people that offered to sponsor us for them. So I think that's really a great thing. So hopefully that will help some businesses in the downtown.
Lori, if you get a flyer, let us know, we'll post it online to help promote it also.
Okay,
I'd
thanks.
like to see the empty buildings on Market Street, the empty business buildings, get ahold of the owners and have them decorate the front of it and put lights up to make it look a little bit more appealing too.
Okay, I'll work on that.
Thank you.
I will. I'll go around and do it. What?
Don't put something there for sale too.
Listen, I'm retired now, I can do that.
All right, any other announcements for us?
Who's the guy here?
All right, is there any public comment at this time? Please say your name, sir.
Hi, I'm Ken Weckman. I work for a group, Situs Development Group. We are the group that has the purchase option on the Celotex site. We're in town, just wanted to introduce ourselves. We have, Situs is basically the track record is we work with impaired sites and do solar development on those sites. So we're used to working with non-optimal site conditions. We've looked at the Celotex site. We're in just about the tail end of our due diligence on the site. And so our first steps, we're going to take a look at all of the information that DEP had put in, because it is a registered brownfield, both federally and statewide. And wanted to take a look at everything that had been put into place, all the previous development efforts, and also to do some soil testing. Wanted to go in and confirm the PADEP's findings when they close up the site, as well as any of the surface conditions that are there. There's quite a bit of soil there now. And what we found is everything in the ground is pretty consistent with what we had. It's got a ton of arsenic contamination. That's the primary heavy pollutant that's in there. As far as the soil that's on, probably about 2/3 of it fits within the clean fill regimen, and about 1/3 of that fits within the polluted section. With that, we spoke to the PADEP and wanted to get their feel of what they felt about the site. And this site has a ton of site restrictions and covenants associated with it. There's an Act 2 that was filed with the state that basically says nothing residential can go up there. And as far as anything commercial, there's a ton of limitations there. Those limitations are really all about, firstly, we don't want anything where it's got a ton of human contact. We've dealt with a lot of arsenic-laced sites all through the Northeast. Any old apple orchard you find has tons and tons of arsenic in it, just because it was a pesticide in the past. In this case, there are covenants put into place that basically has limited human contact in there. Furthermore, nothing comes off the site, so anything that's on the site has to stay on the site. They don't want any heavy excavations going on, so that precludes many things that have a foundation or footing of any kind. Because again, you're going to dig up soil, and apparently the further, if you look at the DEP records, the further you go down, the worse the soil gets, just because of the way the remediation was done. So we've very, very limited excavations there. And lastly, there is a ton of subsurface structures in there. Old pipes, stormwater runoffs, tanks that were just closed over. And apparently there's a lot of foundation, basements and all sorts of other structures that were just closed up in there as well. So they've called into account, they don't know how much weight different parts of the surface can handle. And there also is a third last condition there with stormwater, that they're very concerned with the stormwater situations. It's probably an artifact of all of the concrete and the asphalt that was just left there in the past. There's nowhere for it to go. So to that end, as we spoke about putting solar on there, their comments are one of the other things you can do with the site, given all the other issues that are out there. They also have situations where they want to go cave in all of the subsurface structures that are there. Don't take anything out, and then start taking clean fill or the soil that's on the site that fits in, and particularly the polluted pieces, and put that in and start compacting it down till it can handle a reasonable amount of weight. You're looking for us, if we did something there, to go break up the all of the asphalt and the concrete, and take whatever soil's left on the site, sort of peanut butter it across the entire site, then bring clean fill and put grass on top of it. And lastly, while we're doing that, remediate all the stormwater issues. And their feeling is if you do that, the site can be useful. And apparently, what we were given guidance on, and we subsequently reviewed, confirmed it, that's all in conformance with the Pennsylvania State and DEP brownfield remediation and reuse guidelines that are out there. So it's not uncommon with what we've had to go deal with before. And that also you have to maintain the fencing just to limit the human interaction that's on there. And they would also look for us to go put on some sort of shielding berms, trees, something to start shielding the whole site from the street. So just wanted to give you an idea. We're going to have all of this on a drive. We're going to make it all available to the town. Everything that we have, just so you guys can get your arms around it as well. But you know, this is, in the past, we've usually taken a very, very collaborative approach with towns. Just normally, as we go in, we clean up things that are eyesores to them anyway. We're planning right now, the initial construct is when we spoke to the county about the purchase option, they had expressed an interest in the power as well. And we're going to work with the scheme, you know, we have, when we sell power, we have to conform with the Pennsylvania Board of Public Utilities. They have guidelines of how we can sell the power to either the grid or individuals or counties. And so there's an idea called virtual net metering. And what we would do then is we would basically, once we buy the land, we sell it back to the county for $1. And then we'd lease the land back from them because we have to have the service as well as the land has to be in the same ownership to make this work. Ownership of the actual solar equipment could be a third party. And what we would plan to do is to sell that power to them at a 20+% discount for today, and then freeze it at that price for the next 30 years. One of the things we're all facing here is that PJM, who's above APL, is looking at a huge power gap. A lot of the issues coming down from all the AI data centers going up, and crypto, EVs, as well as normal growth, has caused this huge gap in power between what they have today, and they have to build these investment really to build new facilities. So what we're looking at is some significant power inflation. One of the things you probably see on your bill in the near term is on your delivery side, it's going to go up 50%. The capacity side is just across the board raise. They're projecting about 5% year-on-year compound inflation in power pricing, which is a huge number if you go out that period of time. So our approach in freezing that cost basically gives the county a hedge against that power increase. So we just freeze it out and it puts them in a stable position. I don't know if there's any interest in the town of acquiring any of that power, but we'd be open to it. It's a little early for us. The county brought it up as we bought it, but normally we don't even get into that type of stuff. Those types of situations, if the town is interested in any type of long-term power hedge like that, we'd be open to sharing that with them. But it's an opportunity where we can go, really, it works out financially for the investors in this long term, and it also works out for the municipal operators. That's normally what we've done. We've done this all through the Northeast. We just did a regional high school in New Jersey that was halfway between Atlantic City and Philly, fairly rural area, and This one school, we basically have to save them almost $300,000 a year the first year. And, you know, same thing, froze the power and created a nice surplus in their budget by doing it. So our approach in doing this is that, you know, even though it's solar and it's only creating power during the day, in essence, it's virtual net metering that lets us use the grid as a bank. And so it is, you know, a really good power savings opportunity across the board. And, you know, our last point was that, you know, we're looking forward to doing business here, being a part of the community for the next 30-plus years. I just wanted to get out there, introduce ourselves, and start a dialogue. If you have any questions or anything else associated with it, you know, we're happy to talk about anything we're doing, and, you know, talk about projects we've done elsewhere. You know, we've done everything from stuff in Vermont, Massachusetts, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland. You know, this is our first Pennsylvania project. Pennsylvania for a while was not the friendliest as far as doing this type of work. It's really opened up in the last year or two to make it more reasonable.
We have better rates.
But
We had good rates back in the day.
you did.
Until all stupidity started.
Yes, you absolutely did have better rates, and that's one of the things that did. True. No, he's spot on. When it was all coal, when everything was running off of coal, it was actually,
And nuclear.
you couldn't touch it.
And nuclear.
Well, you know where the nuclear's going today.
Oh, yeah, it's going AI.
Yeah, and that's a point that we're trying to get across. When you have companies like Microsoft buying whole reactors just to go feed the AI side, you can imagine what that's doing to the rest of the power pool for individuals, homes, and smaller businesses. And when there's not enough power, price has only one way to go, supply and demand.
That's what they're opening TI for.
Beg pardon?
That's why they're opening 3 Mile Island.
Yeah.
Because they don't, Microsoft doesn't believe there's gonna be sufficient power for at an acceptable price.
Although the PNDEP was a little skeptical when we asked them about it.
I would like to see your information on the environmental stuff up there.
Oh, that's perfectly reasonable.
Yeah.
You know, we will basically have a drive, a Google Drive we'll make available, and whoever you'd like us to permission into it, we're more than happy to go share everything. It's a little bit of War and Peace. The first environmental report's 1,800 pages by itself. It's a little,
So you're saying some good reading material.
if you want to go see.
That's why you got Control F. Control F. Just do a search.
Do you know who you talked to at DEP by chance?
I don't have, frankly, I don't remember the names.
But that would be on your drive, correct?
What?
That would be on the drive, correct?
Yeah.
With all the DEP stuff?
All the DEP stuff. If you just leave me your contact information, I'm more than happy to share that with you. The Environmental Engineering Group, ARM, they're based at Harrisburg. They introduced us to the DEP. They facilitated the first call. We were very lucky in that there were 2 individuals on the call who had been on that site since 2010 and working with it, so they were intimately familiar with all of the materials there. So, you know, everything that we do there we'll make available, because it's really something that everybody should know.
No, it's important to me because my people are on that site.
Yeah.
So I want to see what's going on with the environmental stuff you're talking about.
I mean, basically, I don't think they anticipated, I mean, we've been on the site, I've seen your trucks there all over the place. I don't know how well it was communicated, the covenants that were put into place, or the limitations. I can't speak to that. You know, all I can do is say, here's what we have now.
Yeah, that's why I want to see your.
Yeah. You know, typically, you know, that one site that I was looking at, site we did in Cumberland County in New Jersey, was an old apple orchard. It was heavily arsenic laced. And it was one of those things. Now, New Jersey wouldn't consider it a brownfield because it was still being farmed, soybeans. You know? But when we had to remediate on that site, we had a setback, and we had to remediate from the setback to the road, and they wanted us to pull out all the arsenic. We went down 3 feet before we got clean soil. And so, you know, that was across 20 acres of frontage. So it was a lot of soil. But that gives you an idea. Arsenic doesn't go down a whole lot deeper than that. It tends to stay on the top, but it's got a very long half-life.
Can I just have one quick question for you? I mean, so how long have you guys been working with the county at this point to get this deal going?
This is probably 6 months.
Okay.
Okay, the purchase option was signed, I'm guessing right now, 2 to 3 months now.
Okay.
And that's when we started we call it the first stage of due diligence of critical issues.
Yeah.
And we basically start digging through, particularly when we know it's an impaired site.
Doing all your homework, making
All our
sure.
homework, just to make sure it's feasible to do it. You know, and, you know, everything from that, talking to PP&L, saying, is it feasible to interconnect? Many times, you know, if they haven't invested heavily in infrastructure in the area, it simply isn't feasible without an investment of, what's the name of your company? Situs Development. Again, if you leave me information, I'll be happy to share all the contact information.
Ken, do you have a card by chance?
I don't have a card with me.
Okay.
But I'm
I'll
happy
give you
to
a card
share.
after.
Okay, and I'll send you an email,
To
and
DEP.
you tell me how you want to go see it, and again, we'd rather just share everything with you.
All right.
And that's it. Any other questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ken, appreciate it. Any other public comment at this time? Please state your name, ma'am.
Julie Brochus, and the gentleman that was just speaking, do you have a website, or how do you get your information? Do you just have it on a drive? That's how we obtain it?
Yeah, we, basically, most of this stuff is, we use the Google Drive for storage.
Yep.
And when we work with a third party or a town, what we do is we permission that person to
Okay,
specific directories within the drive.
okay,
So it's really easy. And all you do is you would get a notification that you've been invited to that Google
Yep.
Drive.
yep. I
and then you
use
can get
Google
in.
Drive, so I get it.
Yep, everything would be there.
Okay, and do you have a card, or what's your
I
contact?
didn't- I'm sorry, I was telling Drew I walked out today without my head.
Oh, how nice of you. So how do we contact you?
I will leave you information. If you leave me a card, we will go send a follow email back to you.
Okay, all right, perfect.
Anything else, Julie?
No,
All right. Any other public comment at this time? Please state your name, sir.
Joe Bartella, did you guys actually have the auction today?
Yeah, we had it at 4:30. All of the properties sold. Joel, we disclose the amount, right? Sure. For a total of $23,500. Each one's had a minimum bid of minimum start of $1,000, but one other property had a minimum bid of higher because of the contingencies on it. But Joe, if you want to see what each one went for, we have that information up here as well.
yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yep. Any other public comment at this time? All right, adjourn this meeting.